Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 10th September today, and in this video we are going to discuss these important articles which are on this slide, which are actually taken from the newspaper. If you are the first time visitor of this channel, then let me introduce this initiative to you guys. Every day in this video we discuss three types of questions. The first set of questions are from the current affairs. We take up the most important articles from the newspaper which are relevant for your preparation. We break them down into the simplest language possible and derive some prelims based questions from them so that it will help you prepare well for your prelims, next year's prelims. The another set of questions are taken from static topic which we discuss here. Every day we discuss some static topic, and we had started from the Indian polity, and today we are going to discuss some features, some salient features of the constitution. We will discuss them and derive some prelims based question from them. At the end we will discuss some previous year questions from the old question papers so that it will give the idea how the questions do come in the exam and what can be the methods by which you can solve those questions. Before we start our discussion, I would like to request you a few things here. First, please do note these questions somewhere, or at least take the screenshot of these questions so that when your exams would be near, when you will revise these questions, it will help you in revising the whole current affairs of the year, and also it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. So please take note of these questions, and also do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. With this, let us start with our first topic, which is the new guidelines brought out by the Drug Controller General of India. Actually, this topic is about the issues with the earlier guidelines which were there and what can be the improvements related to them. So here, first thing I want to make it clear that we are not going to discuss the news analysis here. So make it very much clear. We are going to derive the questions from them. For that, we are taking, now a question can arise in your mind that why we are discussing these articles then. The point is to give the context behind the questions which we are going to discuss here. So with this, DCGI, they had brought up the new guidelines. There were, according to the article, there were various issues with the guidelines brought out by them. So let's discuss what were the guidelines, what are the issues with them. There are three different guidelines which they had brought out. The first one, recall guidelines. What is this recall guidelines? For example, they had given consent to some medicine, and by time it has been found that medicine has some side effects, or it is outdated, or it is not that good for the health of the people. So what they do, they recall this, they recall that medicine, they recall that medication. So this is about the recall guidelines which they had brought in. What were the earlier issues with that? Sometimes it was recalled in a particular state only, not all over the India. So right now this issue has been sorted out. Once it is to be recalled, it would be recalled all over the country. So this is about the recall guidelines. Then another guidelines which were put forward are with respect to the good distribution practices. There are various issues with the distribution, good distribution practices. For example, we lack the cold storage system, we lack the good transportation for the medications, for the medicines. So this is with respect to that, there should be more cold storage, more vans should be available for the transportation of these medications, and those vans should be installed with the with the freezers and refrigerators, so that these medications don't get expired, or they don't lose its potency. After that, there is another issue which has been discussed in here is the similar names. When, for example, there is some drug which has particular name, and another generic company will come up and it will name the same, it will give that the same brand name. So it will cause the confusion in the market, it will cause confusion in the patient's mind, so that it can lead to the various issues in the country. So this thing has also been issued, it has also been sorted out under these guidelines, but there are various issues with the implementation of these guidelines. One of the major issues is they lack this the legal backing. There is no law which is backing these guidelines. This is one of the issue in the implementation of these guidelines. So this is about this is in a nutshell what was in the news. How this Drug Controller General of India, they had come up with the new guidelines with respect to the medicines. The another article which was in the news is about the next census. Next census should be last enumeration based. You know what this article is about the opinion of the author. You know, after every 10 years, the census is going to be held in our country, but unfortunately, from last 4 years, it has been delayed. You know, we are still dependent on the 2010-11 census. So, what are the issues with it? You know, the issue is very much clear because of the COVID-19 and because of the elections it was delayed, and there are some allegations that the government is delaying it by their own will, irrespective of any other circumstances. But that is simply an allegation. We can't make much comment on that. Now what the discussion of the author is here, that we should rather depending on the enumeration based, we should go on the dynamic. Our census should be more dynamic based. What it is enumeration based, it takes a lot of energy from the government. It costs a huge amount of money for the government. It is very much time consuming, very much costly, and it is very much static. After every 10 years it would be held. People have to go door to door and ask for the name, occupation, and all that stuff which is required. But if they will take the dynamic one, in the dynamic one which the author suggests that the government should go for the dynamic one, in it the government will club various government initiatives. For example, government grants us Aadhaar cards, government grants us death certificates or birth certificates. It will club all those things in one, and keep updating the census data every year, so that the policies which would we make would be more accurate to the people. So according to author, the government should go for that dynamic census very quickly. The next census which is going to happen, as the government has promised, it should be the last census based on the enumeration based. So with respect to this, we will solve some question in the quiz session. After that, another article which was in the news, it is about the taking TB seriously. India is one of the largest country which is India is the largest country which is affected by the TB. Around 25% of the TB burden is in India. It is very much infectious disease. It can be latent sometimes. It can, for example, we had already discussed it during COVID-19. We have asymptomatic patients too. So it can be also latent. It can lead to this widespread of the disease. And one of the issue with the tuberculosis is the it is antimicrobial resistant. It is medicine resistant. It is becoming the medicine resistant. So right now the India has adopted the new guidelines of the WHO, which has recommended the BPALM, which is bedaquiline, predominid, linezolid, and muciloxin. These medicines which are recommended by the WHO. So India has adopted it, and we are looking very seriously to cope up with the TB burden in our country. So with respect to this, we will solve some question. This is little bit background of the article. After that, there was another issue which was discussed in the challenges to the road safety. Why it was in the discussion? Because the India status report on road safety 2024, it is generated by the by DRIP Center at IIT Delhi. So it said that there are in India road casualties are a very serious problem. Even according to this report, every year 1.5 lakh people get killed because of the road accidents, get killed on the road. So this is one of the major issue in our country. What are the various reasons with respect to these road accidents? The author here, this report shows few of the reasons. For example, general lack of traffic awareness, safety. Safety mechanisms are not followed. For example, helmets which are required, they are not followed by the people. We have huge number of laws in our country, but they are not followed in a best manner possible. For example, if we will look back when the new laws were brought in, they were against the truck drivers, and there was huge reaction to that from the truck drivers. So we can see that in our country, tight mechanisms are not followed. So because of all that stuff which this report has discussed. The point is not to discuss here. The point is to give the idea which they had brought in, that because of all this negligence from the people, we lost every year, we lose 1.5 lakh people every year because of the road accidents. So with respect to this, we will discuss few questions in the quiz session. Another article which was in the news is about the district meteorological units. It was earlier introduced, but it was district agro meteorological units, which is also abbreviated as DEMUs. It was earlier in the introduced, but because of some reasons it was withdrawn by the government. But the Indian Meteorological Department, they are planning to bring it back, so that they will give the clear advices to the farmers about the weather conditions of a particular area, of a discrete area in which they are working. So we will discuss questions based on this article too. After that, we have to discuss a very important article here. India and UAE Inc., part of Civil Nuclear Corporation. India and UAE, they had started to work on the Civil Nuclear Cooperation. We'll discuss, we will see some prelims based question on this article too. At the end, we will discuss some salient features of the Constitution when we will reach there, and finally the previous year questions. With this, let's move to our first question. Before we start the question session, I hope you had understood, you had at least got the idea why we are discussing those questions. Now, let's answer the first question here. The question says, which of the following statements accurately describe the role and responsibilities of the Drug Controller General of India? Here we have to understand what this Drug Controller General of India is, because they had brought up the new guidelines. Let us discuss them. The first one, the DCGI is responsible for the approval of new drugs and clinical trials in India. 100% correct. Another, the DCGI regulates the import, manufacturing, distribution, and sale of drugs and cosmetics. The control of pharmaceutical, this is also correct. Third, the DCGI's functions include setting policies for the control of pharmaceutical prices in India. This is totally incorrect, because the control of pharmaceutical prices is managed by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority and not by the DCGI. So option 3 is incorrect. Option 4, the DCGI is a statutory authority under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So this is 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct option is option 1, option 2, and option 4. And from the code given below, the correct code is option C. I hope you had understood the question and you had got the context of this question. Now with this, let's another question here. It says, which of the following statements regarding the census in India are correct? First statement, the census in India is conducted every 10 years by the Office of the Registrar General and the Census Commissioner. 100% correct. The census data collection includes information on demographic, social, economic, and housing characteristics. 100% correct. The census process in India is conducted through a single phase enumeration only. No, it is not conducted through single phase, but through a two phase. It is conducted in two phases. The first phase is the house listing phase and the population enumeration phase. So statement 3 is incorrect. Statement 4, the results of the census are used for the allocation of parliamentary seats and the distribution of central funds to states. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code is option C. Now with this, let's move to the another question. It is about the the drugs which are recommended by the WHO. So let's see. Bedaquiline, pretomonide, linzoid, and moxifloxacin are drugs recently seen in news. They are used in the treatment of which of the following diseases? It is very hard to pronounce such names because our background is not the medical science. So please forgive me for the mispronunciation of these words. So what do you think these medications which are mentioned here are related to? Are they related to are they used for the cure of the AIDS? No. Anti-rabies? No. Anti-COVID? No. They are definitely for the cure of tuberculosis. So for this question, the correct option is option 4. Now moving to the other question here, it says, India's status report on road safety 2024 was generated by which of the following organization? Statement A, Automobile Department of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, totally incorrect. Statement C, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, totally incorrect. Statement B, Trip Center at IIT Delhi, 100% correct. So for this question, the correct option is option B. Now with this, let's move to the another question. It talks about which of the following statements accurately describe the functions and roles of district agro meteorological units in India. The first statement, DMUs are responsible for providing localized weather forecast to aid in agricultural decision making, 100% correct. Second statement, DAMUs operate under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to implement soil health management program. Note, they don't work under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. This is incorrect. Statement 3, DAMUs collect and analyze meteorological data to provide advisories on crop management and pest control, 100% correct. Statement 4, DAMUs are involved in organizing training programs for farmers on the impact of weather conditions on agriculture. This is also correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1, statement 3 and statement 4, and from the code given below, the correct code is option C. Now with this, let's move to the last question with respect to the current affairs today. It says which of the following statements are correct about the I2U2 forum. We discussed that India and UAE, they had inked the deal, ink pact for civil nuclear cooperation. So UAE becomes very much important for us. Now let's have a look at this I2U2 forum, in which both India and UAE take part. Let us see a few of these statements with respect to it. Statement 1, the I2U2 forum is a multilateral platform consisting of India, Israel, the United Arab Emirates and United States, 100% correct. Statement 2, the primary focus of the I2U2 forum is on regional security and defense cooperation, 100% incorrect, because it is primary focus is mentioned in the statement 3, which is the forum aims to enhance economic cooperation and development, particularly in areas like infrastructure and renewable energy, 100% correct. Statement 3 is correct. Statement 2 incorrect. Statement 4, I2U2 forum was officially launched in 2021 with a focus on advancing technological collaboration and trade relations, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C, which is option 1, option 3 and option 4 are the correct statements with respect to this question. Now with this, I hope you had understood the questions from the current affairs part. Now let's move to the static topic which we have to discuss today, and the salient features of the Constitution. In the recent class also we discussed a few salient features of the Constitution, like it is the lengthiest written constitution. It is drawn from various sources, blend of rigidity and flexibility, and also we discussed the federal system with unitary bias. So today the fifth salient feature of it is we had the parliamentary form of government. We chose for the parliamentary form of government or the presidential form of government. We had borrowed it from the British parliamentary system. What is the key feature of this? That the executive and the legislative, they work very much integratedly. They are interdependent on each other. Executive is responsible to the legislature, while as in the presidential form of the government, there is separation of the powers in the executive and the legislative wing. Also in the parliamentary form of the government, we have that the head of the state, for example the prime minister of our country, he is chosen from the legislative members which are directly elected by the government, which are directly elected by the people. Those legislatures, they choose the executive wing, and he is chosen from those who are elected directly by the people. So we have opted for the parliamentary form of the government, and we did not opt for the presidential form of government because of some of the issues with that. The another feature of this is we have the integrated and independent judiciary. What is this integrated and independent judiciary? That both the center and the state come under the same judiciary. We have the same courts for both the center and the state, and there is a hierarchy in the judiciary too. For example, at the top we have the Supreme Court, then we have High Court, then we have district courts, and we have local courts. So there is proper hierarchy in our judiciary, and also judiciary is very much independent of the executive and the legislative councils. So we have the integrated judiciary both for both center and states. We don't have the separate judiciary. As for example, in the United States, they have the separate judiciary for the federal conditions, and for the states they have different judiciaries. So we have this separate judiciary also. We have this integrated and independent judiciary. The another key feature of our constitution is that we have the fundamental rights. We have to discuss this in the detail when we will take up the fundamental rights. For example, we have 6 fundamental rights: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. So we are going to discuss them in the very upcoming classes, and we will take up the fundamental rights. After that, we have the directive principles of state policies. We have this is also one of the feature of our constitution. What the government should do, what are the duties for the government towards its people. So these are the directive principles of state policy. And also another salient feature of our constitution is the fundamental duties, which were in the earlier constitution. Fundamental duties were not there, but by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976, on the recommendation of the Sovereign Singh Committee, the fundamental duties were introduced. So these are some key features or salient features of our constitution, which I thought we have to touch today. So I hope we are not going to discuss them in detail, because every topic here will cost us at least 2 to 4 days. So here the point is to give you the key features of our constitution. When we will, as the book says, as we are following the Lakshmikant book, it is not important for us to discuss them in detail right now. But when the articles will come, when such topics will come, we will discuss them in a very much detailed manner, because every topic in here will cost us 4 to 5 days. The way we are taking our classes, we are taking them in a very discrete manner. So these are the few other features, and let's solve questions based on them. Here the question says, which of the following statements accurately describe the parliamentary form of government as adopted in the Indian Constitution? Statement 1: in a parliamentary system, the executive is directly elected by the people. No, executive is not directly elected by the people. We elect the legislatives. We elected the MAs and MNAs and MLAs. We elect them directly, and from those the executive is elected. For example, we voted for some particular party. We voted for some particular people, and they form the parliament, and from those people they form the Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, and from those people they elected the executive wing. So we don't elect the executive wing directly. For example, we did not vote for the Prime Minister Modi that he will be our Prime Minister. We voted for the party. We voted for him to be the member of the assembly. After that, they will choose the party who has the majority. They will choose who will be the head of who will be the executive wing, who among those members will be the members of will become the executives of our country. So we don't choose them directly. They are chosen indirectly by the people. By it is the Council of Ministers. Then they come together. It is the president who chooses them. So we don't in the parliament system which we follow here, the executive is not directly elected by the people. So statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2: the Prime Minister is appointed by the President of India and must command the confidence of the Lok Sabha. 100% correct. This is one of the feature of the parliamentary system. Third statement: the Parliament of India consists of 2 houses, the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. Fourth statement: the executive branch, including the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, is accountable to the Raj Sabha. No, they are not only accountable to the Raj Sabha, but they are accountable to the Lok Sabha. They are accountable to the legislatures. So this statement is in particular to the Raj Sabha is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 2 and statement 3 only. So with this, I hope you had understood the core concept of the static topic also here. Now with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, which is going to be the previous year questions. Here the first question says, economically, one of the results of the British rule in India in the 19th century was: first, increase in the export of Indian handicraft; No. Second, growth in the number of Indian owned factories. No, that was not the result of it. Third, commercialization of Indian agriculture. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C. What is the fourth statement? Rapid increase in the urban population. Now this is also incorrect. So for this question, the correct statement is option C. Now moving to the last question of today's discussion, it says, which of the following foreign traveler elaborately discussed about diamonds and diamond mines of India? He was a French traveler. He was a business. He used to do business in the diamonds. And the correct answer for this question is option B, which is Jean Baptiste Tavernier. So for this question, the correct option is option B. With this, we complete today's discussion. If you had watched it till now, thank you very much. And I want to apologize for the late upload of this video, because of some conditions we were not able to make it on the time. So I'm really sorry for that. And inshallah, and by the in the next classes, I will try my best to upload such videos on time and discuss them in more detailed manner. I know this video was not that good. I myself find many mistakes in the way I discussed this. But trust me, this is not the model video. We make best videos here because of some conditions. We were today this video has become like this. I hope you understand what I am saying. There are various issues with me right now. So thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Do subscribe the channel.